Going live.
Oh, God.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 8 of KnightsCast. We are standing here in Del Mar, California, getting ready for the Southern California Open, which, after a little delay, is starting in just 10 minutes. So, hi from me, Ben.
Hi, it's Aaron.
Hi, it's Will.
And hi, it's Jesse.
So, we're really quickly going to just tell you our plans for the day. My goal, top 50%, baby.
My goal is to stand outside this Quonset for the rest of the day. No, my personal goal, just hitting that real quick, greatest day would be top 10 for me. There's really good competition here. Looking around, there's a lot of people who went to BAO, number of other tournaments, and have done really well. Yep. So we're probably facing some of the best on the West Coast anyway today. So looking forward to playing. Hoping to do well.
I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
That's a perfectly reasonable goal. Yeah.
I'm just here to troll everyone.
And how are you doing that today?
Well, I brought the Elucidian Star Striders, everyone's favorite list.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. So Aaron brought the Star Striders, and he's a hero. There's also a Kroot player in the room somewhere.
And we're pretty sure they bought Kroot from the secondhand store and entered the tournament. So in true, tradition, somebody is carrying that flame, and really happy about that.
Yeah. So this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll keep you posted throughout the
should we
tournament?
say what we're playing? Like all of us that were playing?
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
What are you playing, Jesse?
So I'm playing Necrons.
Right. Awesome.
My little trick is I put a whole bunch of Triarchs in there. So it's essentially just 4 Triarchs and 2 flayed ones. So I'm going to fly down some hallways.
But you got some optional lists, too.
Yeah.
You got a 2-faction running, so you got a shooty list and a close combat, too. So
yeah, I got a well-rounded kind of every scenario, hopefully.
Yeah.
Kind of covered.
Cool.
What about you, Aaron? What you got?
I said.
He's got a dog.
I just want to revel in it, okay?
I've got a dog, and
I can open doors.
Can open doors. I'm definitely gonna try that.
Is Maximilian a veteran?
Aximilian.
Sorry.
I think the rules say he can only be a scout only.
Oh, okay.
So
that's too bad.
But still, scout's nice. It makes his move like a million inches. So
yeah.
Aaron was telling us how it's a great way to get in other players' heads because no one wants to kill the dog. And we were thinking also that he could start naming his models. He could ask people like, "So, what's your wife's name? What's your kid's name?" And name all his models after that. That way, no one's going to kill his guys. It's brilliant.
It's like, you don't want to shoot Candace.
That is your loving wife of 20 years.
My other thing of this one is that everyone I've talked to who looks at me when I tell them that I've brought this list, no one knows what they do.
Yeah.
Which I think is a nice little.
And it's a bold move at an elites tournament to run 100 points all day.
Gets me 2 extra CP from the get.
Yeah.
I'm playing Imperial Guard, which I'm excited about.
Just Godfrey.
I'll tell Aaron it's the Godfrey de Montbard show. He's super fun. I made a custom model for him. I love him dearly. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, and I'm playing my Eldar because I was moving house for the last 2 months and renovating a house. I didn't really have any time to prep anything, so I've got a couple models running at the barest of 3-color minimum. Looking forward to that. I'm going to run a Wraith Blade today in a couple situations. Got some ideas of how that's going to work. And I'm switching out my leader. I usually run a Storm Guardian leader. I think I'm going to be running a Ranger leader for most of the day, just trying to make sure that every model is getting some punch. So, that's our list. That's what we're playing. We're going to hop... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Do you guys feel that? I feel there's something in the air.
What's that?
I think it feels like it's on Ben. Is it Tournament Ben?
It's Tournament
Ben. Ben powering up.
Ben is here.
Is he powering up? I feel it. Oh, man.
That's right. I can feel at least 25th place in my future. It's going to be brilliant.
So
all right, guys.
We're going to check in and out as the day goes on. So we'll be back with you after round 2, maybe? Lunch break?
Sounds great.
All right.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, hi, everyone, and welcome back to episode 8.1 of KnightsCast. Here we are still at SCO after day 1 arena.
We had a really good time today, and we're completely exhausted. Wouldn't you all agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Emphatically exhausted.
I mean, I'm not exhausted anymore. I've become a human potato peanut hybrid. So
And we've
Potato nut.
replaced Ben with Aberbagan's Goblin Bloggers
Ammo Runt.
like ammo runt
Yeah.
of
We've
Parts.
we've put that runt
Would it be-
in his voice box.
Yep.
Would it be a potato nut or a potato?
potato nut. I refuse to be called a potato. Nope. This is my.
I like
It is my condition.
potato.
It's my condition.
All right, well, listeners, if you want to weigh in on this, get a life.
Yeah.
I
But
love
really,
the unabashed salt we got going on right now, man.
Damn.
Did we have
It's the voice.
Did we have fun today?
We did have fun.
We
We
did
had a
have
good
fun
time,
today.
yeah.
Great day today. It's hard to gauge how much fun we had based on the quality of our voices, but I enjoyed every moment of it. I had a great time.
We got to meet a lot of listeners out there.
A lot of listeners.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Made some new listeners, hopefully.
Hopefully,
And some,
welcome aboard.
yeah, welcome aboard. Welcome to KnightsCast.
This is what we do.
This is what we do.
Doom.
So, had a lot of great games, and then hopefully expanding the community. And I mean, I would say overall, for a competitive tournament, this was probably one of the friendliest bunch of people
yeah.
playing a
Oh,
game.
yeah,
it was
that's a
pretty
good
great.
point. Yeah.
Considering just how competitive it was.
I
too.
mean, yeah.
Like top tier competition. People that will win not just this major, but most majors. Like being able to play against them and to meet them and to see how they work was really, really cool to see today.
Yeah.
And just to meet other people in the community, also other content creators. Shout out to Glass Half Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great to meet you.
That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Glass Half Dead was casting all day. The featured table.
Yeah, so if you're interested, they're going to post those games on YouTube, I believe.
On Twitch, Kill
On
Team
Twitch.
Stream.
On both.
Actually, I think
Yeah.
you're right. It is on YouTube as well.
So catch it there.
Yeah. None of us were on the featured table. Yeah.
No, but
today.
Alex was.
Alex was.
Who's
Alex. Good for
who is
Alex.
a friend of the podcast.
Yeah.
And,
An extremely talented player who was playing
Yes.
Ad
Good
Mac.
job.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Fly by Nights was well represented by Alex and Emmanuel. Good job, guys. Appreciate it.
We did come up with
None of us did Bradley.
Well, they did better than all of us.
I think for like Alex and Emmanuel need like titles. They're like the free blades of the KnightsCast.
Free Blades.
Free Blades, Outriders. I like Outriders.
So they
Very good.
they count as part of the sub faction, but they don't get the sub faction bonus or something.
Yeah. They're like Praetorians, Triarch Praetorians.
Right.
Hey, I'm down with that.
Yeah.
That's cool. They're badass.
Also,
they're also super tough. That's why they're
so
tough
they're
to
like
fight.
brats, but no, Triarch is better because they are better than us, but also they
Stick them with a needle,
Aren't
the needle will
actually,
break.
Yeah.
right.
All right, we digress.
But yeah, so it was a good time. How'd we do, guys?
I went 2-2 today. I had a 16-point win. In case you're not aware, the way that the ITC scoring at these majors works, you score a range of 0 to 18 points. You can score a maximum of 9 primary objectives and a maximum of 9 secondary objectives. I'm proud of the 2 wins that I had today because I got 16 in one game. I got 18 in another game.
And you match up with some of the more competitive people.
Yeah, one of my losses came against Stephen Pichel, who is right now at this very moment at the championship table, playing for first or second place. So it was good to play against him. I feel like had the dice gone a little bit differently, I might have had a chance of taking that one. And then I got to play Alex for the last game of the day. I lost by 1 point, just kind of lacking a good secondary to carry me home.
I will say after today, picking your secondaries, especially on these missions, it wasn't free pick. You had specific ones. If you did not pick the right one, you were going to you're going to lose 3 points, and that was going to hurt.
Yeah, it was very much the case, and I think, personally, that free choice secondaries is not the way to go.
Yeah.
having specific prescribed secondaries per mission is definitely the way to go. It just makes it very uncertain. Uncertain for everybody going into a game.
It's very swingy.
Yeah. But if you know how your team is going to handle a secondary objective, you can really make an impact with stuff. But you got to think differently every single game. So that's how I did. Aaron?
I placed 27th overall.
Oh, and Will, how did you place?
Well, it's hard to tell because right now they're doing maintenance on the VCP app. I'm ranging anywhere from 13th to 16th, so I was just outside of my top 10 hope.
Nice. I was way past my bottom goal.
You achieved.
I achieved.
You overcame.
I overcame it. So I'm pretty happy with that considering I played with a pretty gigantic handicap today. Taking a 100-point list to a 125-point tournament of basically guard equivalent models.
Yep.
You magnificent bastard.
It's pretty great. No one knew what to do. No one knew what they did. It was glorious. Aximilian is a good boy.
The best boy.
And he definitely proved his worth in many an encounter and just stymieing my foes. But yeah, got a win out of them against the guard meta, like a plasma spam guard list with flamers.
Yeah.
Got a win out of that. My other two games were like squeakers, so lost by 1 and 3 points respectively from the last two games. So
yeah.
I'm not unhappy with how they performed, and hats off to the folks that I played with. They were great. Everyone was pleasant, super cool.
Yeah.
I will say for a very competitive atmosphere, there were a lot of friendly people in there.
Yeah.
So I mean,
this community continues to astound me.
Yeah.
Just if you find somebody who is difficult to play with, it's an exception, not the rule. Like, people in this community are excellent people.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same way with Big Hammer. We haven't really delved into that, yet. But Kill Team continues to amaze and surprise, and just the level of sportsmanship and the level of camaraderie. Wouldn't you say that most of the people at the tournament, you would probably be comfortable walking up to them and just having a conversation?
I mean,
at this point,
everyone here today was like a lovely person, as far as I could tell. This was just a wonderful room of gamers to be in, I thought. Yeah.
And FLG ran another excellent event. Had a little problem with Best Coast pairings, but from what I can tell, that's just kind of par for the course for the app.
Yeah, and they did everything right.
It's really not their fault at all.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ben.
I went 2-2, and it looks like I'm in about at about the 50%, the 50th percentile. So I think I'm at like 18 out of 30 some. So 2-2, not like great. But hey, I seem to have made it in just at around where I wanted to be. So I'm not beating myself up too bad. I played some absolutely wonderful players. My first game was against a Necron player who knew very well what he was doing and positioned really well. I didn't position very well, and so I kind of earned that loss, and he really earned that win. It was a good game. My second game was against an orc player who had some, the game ended up quite heavily in my favor. But this player was a really fun player to play with, did really well. I just got some lucky rolls, I think. He also had just some awesome models that he had custom made to be freebooters, so his entire team was a pirate themed team. He had special pirate heads for his orcs. Really cool, not only because they were freebooters and like not evil sons, which everyone always makes a big deal about, and he played the freebooters like really well, I thought, but also the models were just awesome. I'm going to try and get his Instagram information and we'll post it, because you listeners should see his his really cool models, excuse me. I played against Alex, our podcast friend and an excellent player. He trashed me. I begged him to just skip the game and we could go have fun, but no, he had to play the game.
I offered him the same option
Yeah.
to just concede.
Yeah.
You know, but he had to play the game.
Yeah. So that was a bummer, but
Somebody
also
was
a really
selfish.
fun time. Yeah, right.
Alex, funny thing about Alex, Alex played 4 games today, like the rest of us, but he only played one person that was outside of our group.
Really?
And that was the one that was on the table being recorded?
Featured, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He was kind of frustrated because he wanted to play
Poor
new
guy.
people, but
he's got to be getting tired of that. Yeah.
I kind of had a similar scenario in my games. At least they were in the part of our community as the fly-by-nights in our Discord. So got to meet some listeners for the first times. So that was really fun and entertaining.
Yeah.
So do you have any more about yours?
No, the last guy, I guess I would just say, everyone was absolutely delightful. And it's always cool to find out. So this was in San Diego. We're from LA. And there were some people here who were relatively local. So it's cool for us to get to just, keep on meeting more people who we are likely, I hope anyway, likely to get to play with more in the future. And once again, our games we've always got games going in LA. If you're ever in the area, join us too, please.
And we are pan-Angelino, I would say. We go to the Valley, we go to the San Gabriels, we go to Midtown. I mean, we'll play anywhere. We travel.
Yeah,
story.
that is true. Yeah. Right on.
We're up in Santa Clarita too, from time to time.
Yeah.
So.
So that was it. So it looks like I'm at around somewhere in the middle of the placings in this tournament. It was great. Good times. Yeah. What about you, Jesse?
I got 28.
Yay!
Because Jesse and I stick together.
Yeah, stick to 28 and 27.
Yeah.
We're following the pack, not leading, but following. Yeah, I had a great day. I mean, you always want to do well in these things, but I'm not, upset that I didn't do well. The games I played were really tough. Played some really great and really kind of mind-teasing games with some of our objectives. So, I mean, it really did come down to dice rolls and just, mechanics in a lot of ways. So, almost won the first one. I think I lost by 2 points. Second one, I played some crew player, which was really fun. More fun for me, unfortunately for him. We ended up going 18-6 on that one, so that was a really strong one for me. But he was a really great person and fun and a great sport about it. And then the next one I played. What was my next one? That's how bad it went. I played.
Just want to forget it.
Someone in our community who is another tile player. Man, my dice did not like me at all. And then. So he stomped me on that one, and then the next one I played was with another listener. Shout out to Anthony. He was a lovely human and a great person to play. It was probably one of the most enjoyable games I've played of Kill Team.
That's cool.
So I think that was a great way to end the day.
Yeah.
So
nice.
And my Triarchs did better than I thought they were gonna do.
Yeah.
I mean, I was running a 6-man team all day, and to pull out 1 and 3, and each one being closed except for that third game. I feel pretty good with it.
Very cool.
Nice.
Well, we all had an excellent day, a tiring day. Jesse and Aaron are going to take a train on back up to the city. Ben and I are sticking down here. We're going to be at SoCal Open for the open board tournament tomorrow. So we'll probably give you some more updates as we try to play 4 more rounds of Kill Team in about 6 hours.
Oh, boy.
5 more rounds, because you gotta get to the top table.
No, we're not gonna. Have you seen how I roll?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get to the. I'm not gonna get to the top table.
Have you seen my spatial reasoning and problem-solving skills? I'm not going to get to the hotel tonight.
So we're gonna sign off of this portion, unless we got any closing thoughts.
Peanuts don't have thoughts.
That's deep.
This community is awesome,
This
and it
community-
was great playing
yes.
with listeners and other
Thank you
people.
so much for everyone.
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, for sure.
And shout out again to Glass Half Dead. It was great to meet you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, until our next segment, we will speak to you very, very soon on behalf of myself,
Aaron,
I'm Ben.
And Jesse.
and we're very tired.
very tired.
We'll talk to you soon.
Right.
Bye, guys.
Happy rolling.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, all right. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to day 2 of SCO, Southern California Open. It's actually not day 2 of Southern California Open. It's been a little bit. We are recording, 3 days after day 2. We've had some time to digest a little bit. And for myself, hi, and Will,
Hi.
and Aaron,
It's me.
there hasn't been a lot of digesting to do because as things shook out, we didn't end up attending day 2, any of us at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this was a bummer, but
It was the
probably
right
for the best.
decision. I feel that it was the right decision, but 3 days later, I'm really kicking myself. I couldn't tough out day 2. Essentially, what happened is we got to the car, we recorded the segment that you just heard, and then we looked at each other through very, very tired eyes and shredded voices and said, with the week that we've all got coming up with stuff going on in personal lives, we just can't physically do it. We had, as we mentioned, we had a fantastic time when we were there, but we were looking at having to spend the night on a hotel floor, very graciously offered by our guests, who we'll introduce you to in a moment. But you know, as gentlemen of a certain 30s, that's far less appealing now than it maybe was when I was 20. And
if I was 22,
yeah, if I was
done
22, oh gosh, yeah,
I could have gone out. I'd have been drinking hard, throwing dice
sleeping
at
in the
people,
car.
sleeping on a car, not in the car, on a car, and then I'd have just gone hard the next day and gotten like 26th place.
Solid 26th. You know, but you know, we're going to talk to two guys who were there on day 2, good friends of ours, members of our local club, Emmanuel and Alex. Welcome, Emmanuel and Alex.
Hey.
How's it going? How you feeling after that marathon?
I finally rested 3 days later.
3 days later. Yeah.
It's rest well earned for these guys, because what
Yeah.
we also need to know about Alex and Emmanuel is the two of them did extremely well at SCO.
Yes. Yeah,
On
both
day
days.
1, when we left them, they both placed. What were your placements on day 1 after the arena event?
Alex was at 5th, and I was right behind him at 6th.
Yeah, right.
So top 10 finishes there.
Yeah.
And then day 2, Alex, you finished just outside of the top 10. You had to play Michael T. Holy, 4th round. Michael T. Holy, in case you don't know, he won the first day and got to the final day on day 2.
I gotta do it. Holy smokes, that's crazy.
No.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to do more post production on this episode than I thought.
Well, I'm just going to put in some bleeps, but only over Aaron's jokes.
How dare you?
So Alex did tremendously well, featured on the top table both days. I got to play you again because we are fated in every tournament that we play together to play one another. It was a very close game day 1. So you're welcome for your top 10. Just kidding.
Thank you very much. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Fun fact is I'm fated to never play Alex, so
So we're like
streak
polar
continues.
opposites. That's fun.
Aaron and I have been successfully avoiding each other for about 3 or 4 months now of never actually playing each other.
Like you would think that like I don't like Alex by the way that I kind of passively avoid him when we're playing, but actually like I like Alex a lot, but it just never works out.
That's just called being a good strategist, because Alex beats everybody at every tournament. So all of our local tournaments, Alex has been consistently first at every one that I've been to anyway, what made me just absolutely thrilled that he finally didn't win something. And that is just my way of leading into the fact that on day 2, the entire day, oh my goodness, you guys were both like just killing it. And Emmanuel right here ended up walking away with first place, which is absolutely amazing. We're incredibly pleased and incredibly proud.
It was so exciting to watch. If you get the chance, watch the VODs whenever they come out from Kill Team's stream. It was so exciting, and I was like doing housework and like running back and checking on the score and going away.
Beads of sweat just dripping down my forehead. Yeah, it was like
super rad.
Yeah, a good watch.
Oh,
yeah,
really, really cool.
Yeah, it was quite a surreal experience. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I was actually in my like little driveway area, and I was making a little shrine to Gork and Mork out of a broken down transmission, and I would light it on fire periodically, and I painted it red. And
it's only broken down if you believe it is.
Well, then it started. I put it back in my car, and it started working. So I don't know.
You got to have the orc mindset. If you believe it works, it works. So anyway, Alex and Emmanuel, tell us all about your momentous day 2 at SoCal.
You want to go first, Alex?
Sure. So yeah, day 2 was a lot of fun. The work they put into that was just incredible. The terrain. I mean, we play with our little unpainted terrain that we've got at the shop. Whatever we can pull around. Occasionally, random objects end up on the battle map. Garbage.
Yeah.
Hey.
But just to have what was it? Something like 30 odd.
Yeah, it was 30-something tables.
30-something tables, I think. Maybe not quite that much.
I think there were.
Yeah, at least they had at least 20 tables worth of just absolutely beautiful terrain. And nearly every table was a different theme. It was absolutely incredible. And it turns out they overproduced the terrain they need. They ended up, I think they said it only using about half of it. So was it all Kill Team stream? Was it all his?
Yeah, Sheldon from Kill Team stream did a lot of the work. One of the guys from our local area as well, who's friends with Sheldon, Luke, he did a lot of the work as well to get a lot of that built and painted. They really powered through a lot of that, and they went over the top, but in a good way.
It was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And what was really interesting about that is that there were these very elaborate rules to development of the terrain on the field, with a large central piece and then medium pieces, and taking turns to actually build up the terrain. But I think part of just the rush to get your game started so you wouldn't run out of time, and part of just how beautiful the setup was already. I don't think in any of my games...
I never did. I never touched the terrain.
I just looked at whoever I was playing with, is like, this is great. You could change it if you want, but I love this. And everyone's like, yeah, this is fine. Let's just play on this.
Oh, that's not... when Michael and I played, we moved... he wanted to move a couple pieces around, and we did.
Well...
We didn't actually do the alternating deployment in the pack. We just kind of were like, let's push this here, and kept everything symmetric.
Yeah, I don't think I saw anyone else actually pulling terrain off and building it up as intended from the pack, interestingly enough.
That's utterly fascinating. I'm sorry, I'm sorry to slow down your guys' momentum, because I want to hear about day 2. But so the packet that went out for the SCO Open board, right? So there were 2 days. The first day was Arena. We've talked to you about that already. The second day was the Open board day. In the packet that described the rules, there was this really interesting plan where at the beginning of each game, players would alternate placing terrain, and there were some rules about how to do that. And again, just to clarify, so you're saying that basically became optional.
Yeah, kind of unofficially.
I don't think there was ever any official ruling made about it, but it was everyone's pressed for time. We're getting to a new table, frantically starting to play to try to get your round in the 90 minutes.
Interesting.
But I mean, all the maps were so beautiful. It seemed like a shame to tear it down and put it back.
And also,
so they were set up. They were set up before the first round. Then.
Yes, we showed up in the morning and they had everything already set up.
Oh, interesting.
Huh.
And obviously, I mean, it sounds like no one was salty about this at all. On the contrary, it sounds like everyone really loved the terrain and they did a really nice job. That's really cool. Okay, wow.
Yeah, they did a good job of also keeping it pretty symmetrical and pretty even-ish as you can on an open board. And I think that's what a lot of players actually echoed. There was a large central piece and enough medium pieces kind of evenly dispersed in each corner that irrespective of your deployment side, you had a way to work with obscurement and cover and all of that stuff throughout the whole map itself. So it actually seemed pretty fair, in addition to looking really, really nice. So it seemed fair and beautiful to begin with. So why not just keep it?
Yeah, the pictures were absolutely stunning. Of all the terrain, really impressive
where
stuff.
Can our viewers see that terrain? So you mentioned the VODs. Where else? So is this stuff going on YouTube? Is it going to be on Twitch? Do we know how our listeners can see that stuff?
On the Kill Team Stream website, he's got pictures, I guess, from BAO, maybe. So I'm speaking from no actual knowledge here, but maybe he's going to upload everything there.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I took some photos too that I can share with y'all if you want to put it onto your on your Insta feed, so your listeners can take a gander at some of that stuff too.
Okay. And so also, I'm just go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good, man. Go.
Well, I'm so sorry. I was just going to say, I'm curious also about another terrain-related thing. So between maps and between games, like, was the terrain the same on all the different tables? I realized that it kind of looked different, but did it play the same? Or was it the same shapes? Did it have the same number of stories and all that? No. Interesting. So from one table to the next, there was some variation.
Yeah. The top 5 or so tables all seem to have a Necron sort of theme to them.
Okay.
But then, which meant that, for better or for worse, Emmanuel and I got a lot of games on Necron-themed terrain. But there were actually some incredible pieces further down in the table numbers, and I really would have loved to play on them. There was one that was a graveyard theme, and there was a little chapel in the center of it that the ceiling you could actually take off, and there was not pews, but an altar and stuff on the inside of it, so you could have taken it off and then sent your guys inside there to fight.
Wow, that's rad.
Kind of reminiscent of that campaign game you and I played, Ben.
I remember it well. Yeah.
It's a very asymmetrical terrain setup. That's very interesting, and it was especially interesting because in the game that you guys played, you played each other on the featured table. They commented that falling rules might come into play at one point when Emmanuel charged up a rocky outcropping to charge some.
Can we not talk about Emmanuel's charges in that game?
Oh, they were brutal. Oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever seen that many 6s ever rolled, and I mean, it was a crazy. I mean, it was t-shirt saves. It was 10 to 12 inch charges, I think, most of the time. Oh, it was a beautiful thing to watch.
I apologized no less than 18 times during my first movement phase. I felt so gutted. I was like, this shouldn't be happening, but I can't change the dice.
So for people who haven't watched the stream, Emmanuel and I ended up playing each other game 3 on top table on day 2, the open day. And round 1, I got initiative, pushed my guys forward, just barely within charge range, figuring, he'd get a couple charges off, fail a bunch of charges. I could shoot the guys who failed. My guys who were up front would be choppy enough to do work. But no, when you have about 8 orc boys and 2 knobs swarming about 2 or 3 models, they don't last very long.
And you were running Evil Sons as your sub-faction, correct?
Yes.
Emmanuel?
Yes, yeah. That gives them a bonus +1 to base movement, both in addition to a +1 inch on advance rolls. So kind of similar to a White Scars list where they have the +2 to advance. I kind of get that plus a benefit if it's just a normal move, then also a +1 on your charge roll. So it gets them places. It gets them places.
Right. And did you have that kind of luck all day, like in the first 2 rounds as well? We kind of caught up with you at round 3, but how did round 1 and 2 turn out for you?
Yeah, round 1 and 2 were very interesting maps. Round 1, the map didn't really have a central objective for obscurity. It had 2 separate kind of towers with like a sacrificial flayed one, like strung up between the 2. Incredible. All looked like it was handmade out of wire, twisted around. It was just they really outdid themselves. And on that map, I friend of the Discord now, Anthony. I was playing against him. He had hit his leader, unbeknownst to him, behind a very easily approached tower to my veteran specialist, and I was able to charge around the back, which then shook him up to try and protect his leader, bringing his guys around in the direction I wanted them to come to give me obscurement with that pylon that allowed me to then get a lot of charges in on round 1 and then subsequently round 2. So that luck played out there only because of how he reacted to my initial kind of stirring the pot. And then on round 2, the large central objective had nice kind of it was about 4 inches high, but then dipped down to 3 inches high. So it had a nice 1-inch rim around. I think you played on that table against some Michael Holdy. That was table 2 that had that kind of bunker in the middle with that balcony. And because, or that, not balcony, that like little chest high wall, or like what I like to call now an orc high wall, because it was high enough to obscure everything down there. So after phase 1 advance, I was in the center of the map, and after you advance to the center of the map with complete obscurement to everything down, you charge whatever you want without any retaliation. So both those maps were pretty friendly to me to getting my guys in. And I mean, orcs, they charge. If they're in melee combat, they're safe from all the guns that are going to turn them into chunky mushroom salsa. So that's just the main objective of any time that you're playing orcs, is just to get them away from shooty bits.
Which you did on turn 1. That's a very good turn 1 right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's back up a little and talk a little more about the sequence here. So first of all, just remind us again. So Emmanuel, we know you played orcs and you played them all as evil sons. Alex, tell us a little bit about what you played, and then I think for both of you, it would be great if we could just hear the sequence of who you played against and kind of how those games went down, just in kind of broad strokes.
Okay, yeah, sure. You go first, Alex.
Yeah, well, so I played Admech.
Okay.
Like always. I run the Metallica sub faction because I like zipping around the field as much as possible. So turn 1, I do not remember the name of my opponent, for which I am.
I'll pull it up.
We're pulling it up. So we played a game. He was not the most experienced, so we spent a little bit of time, being like, we got to, talking about how like to play objectives and stuff. He said that he and his group normally just play like kill each other games.
Oh, nice.
And so he wasn't so used to the objectives, and so.
Raul Morales, I actually played him first day as well. My first game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
Nice guy.
He seemed like super good dude. Yeah.
I ended up winning. But it was a lot of fun playing him. Round 2, but I maxed on that one, and that was enough to propel me to the top table for round 2. I played Alec with he had the Drukhari, I believe. Okay. And that game went very well for me. I did everything I needed to do. I took a lot of. I left the plasma at home for the most part. Which is probably why I did good that game, because my plasma boys were really trigger happy and intent on blowing themselves up this tournament. But yeah, we had a good match and just a lot of high volume, low AP fire ended up just working its way through the rack invulns and getting me to where I needed to go.
Was he running like I played him on the first day in Arena, and did he like have a ton of racks like he brought then as well?
Yeah, he I think it was at least 50% racks, and then he brought 3 or 4 mandrakes, and then what's the other guy with the Clavex? I think he was the only one that didn't have an invuln. He was the only one that didn't have an invuln save, and I had my plasma sniper, and fortunately I was able to point the plasma at him and delete him turn 1.
Right.
But then it was funny because his mandrake hurled a shot at my sniper, who was on a sniper tower, got hit, fell off, and ended up dying due to the mortal wound from falling.
Oh no!
So we had a good laugh about that as that happened.
It's such a wild rule to kind of introduce at a major, considering we almost never play with that rule here in our home games.
It's a good rule, like we should. It's just it's like the last thing I learned, and so I always forget it, you know?
That and like jumping gaps. Who would have thought that, you know, that was going to be a thing at a major, you know? But that I imagine that probably came into play.
Jumping gaps? So nice segue into game 3 when Emmanuel and I played each other. At one point, he had I think it was one of your knobs, charge my little sniper nest. And there were sort of these 2 rock pillars right next to each other.
That was just Uggums. He's just a boy.
Just a boy. Charged up this rock pillar and came teetering down towards my little sniper nest. And so Emmanuel got him as far down as he could, and if he pushed him any farther, the boy was just going to topple over. And he's on this pillar next to me. And I looked at it and said, I don't think that's an inch. And we measured, and sure enough, it was just a hair over an inch. And I was so grateful for that one little piece of luck I got. But then he ended up, I think, charging around the other side of the rock and getting in there. And
this is true.
They were toast.
Toasters.
Yes.
And then round 4, you got to face the wrecking machine that was Michael T. Holy.
Yep. Played him. That was a lot of fun. We duked it out. Had some more plasma implosions on that one. But yeah, it was the battle between 2 shooty armies with a little bit of frontline fighters, and he veteran moved up, and I struggled to take the veteran out, and he outranged me, and he took it.
And what was he running?
White Scars, Astartes. He had a couple storm shields. Relic Blade, Heavy Bolter, comms with Auspex, Flamer 2.
Was he taking the Flamer Chainsword combo?
Yes.
Yeah.
He actually had a really cool conversion work he'd done where he actually took I guess he like cut off the top half of the Flamer and then took a Chainsword and stuck it on top, so it was like a chain gun.
It was like Gears of War.
Yeah, exactly.
Gears of War. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow. It was really cool.
I saw them and I told him that was a bit of orky science, and I don't think he appreciated that.
Orky science is often underappreciated. I couldn't agree more.
Just believe in it, guys. It'll work. It will. This stick will shoot bullets, and so it did.
Just yell bang.
So awesome. It sounds like you had a really good day, and just
so I ended
maybe
up,
some dice rolls bit you in that 4th round.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're sure, dice rolls can bite you in the butt. I mean, it's a dice game at the end of the day. As much as we want to believe that we're playing some wonderfully involved tactics game, at the end of the day, you get a string of bad dice rolls. No matter how good you play, you're gonna end up toast.
Yeah, ones don't do anything.
No, they don't.
Don't I know that all too well. Emmanuel, take us through your day.
Yeah. So I alluded to my first game. I played against fun guy Anthony. He brought. It was almost like a bookended day. Started and ended with White Scars Marines that I played with. So he brought White Scars Marines.
No, you got a practice round.
I got to learn what White Scars do. I used to think up until Sunday that people only ever ran Salamanders because all those rerolls, right? But I learned what White Scars do there and what Relic Blades do as well. That was nice. But it was a very fun match. I feel like I dismantled his entire just kind of plan, which with my initial veteran move, which is mainly the reason I like that initial veteran move because people don't expect it, and it's a very aggressive way to kind of get within charge range of first round. And for only one CP, it allows you another CP to then decisive move and shake up their entire movement phase if you don't want to deploy any reserve units. So you have that 1-2 combo in the first round, which can really dismantle an entire machine's plan. Because, I mean, these games are honestly won in the movement phase. I think a lot of us say that time and time again. And
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, we both play factions that make us more mobile and faster.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly why I take Evil Sons, because if you have options, you can do a lot more. So by dismantling someone's initial plan in their movement phase, you can try and influence what their movement's going to be. And I took advantage of that on that first round. I think I felt really bad for Anthony. I think I apologized about 4 or 5 times during that round because he's like, I don't want to do any of this. Oh, this is not what I wanted to do with these guys. I did not bring models to do this. And I was like, dude, I'm sorry. It's just that's the why I do it. I'm sorry, dude. But he was really fun to play with. I will never forget his.
You were kind of anticipating, like you saw his deployment, you figured out that he wanted something here, you figured out he had some kind of plan. So before we circle back to the rest of the day for you, I'd love to hear kind of what did you see that told you here's what he's trying to do, and how did you kind of figure out how you were going to interfere with that? Would you automatically have veteran moved and then decisive moved if you needed to, if you didn't roll initiative, or is there more to it than that?
So I'll describe the list that I took for that because it's kind of a weird list. It's not all boys, and I think I got
more
a lot
on that
of
later. Yeah, you
the
took
day
some cool lists.
That my list was wrong or inefficient because it didn't have enough boys, but I was trying to do something different with it. So the 2 times that I played Space Marine factions, well, the 2 times in game 1 and game 2, sorry, that was a different list that I played actually on stream 3, 4, and 5. Game 1 and game 2, I actually decided to take 2 commandos, Commando Boss Knob and a normal boy commando, so 2 commandos to have the option to use that CP for the deployment if I wanted to, the cunning infiltrators to allow me to deep strike. But I also took a flash kit because I wanted to make it work, mostly. I had some thoughts and I had some ideas, and Alex and I had been talking a lot about how to try and get a flash kit to work, but I really wanted to use it only in very specific situations and mostly against high save models or low armor save models like Space Marines, and also on maps with long board deployments, just to allow him to be in control of a larger portion of the map earlier on in the game. Because I find if you're deploying on the short sides of the table, that's a lot of movement you want to try and get him into that 12-inch where he's hitting on 4s. He's equipped with a chopper, not a git find a squig, specifically to allow him to crump a little better. But yeah, so on that list I took a flash git and a couple knobs. One was my veteran with a big chopper, and the other was a boss knob with a power claw. About 5 boys and ammo runt to kind of hang around on an objective or go hang out with the flash kit to allow him to reroll a failed hit. Interestingly enough, don't trust Battlescribe. Apparently the big choppers are 3 points, not 2 points. But fortuitous for me, my 2 lists were 123 and 124 points. So they still remained legal despite that incredible oversight. That could have been bad.
But it is also worth saying, especially just to make you relive the trauma of hearing that dozens of times, that's not enough boys.
Yeah.
I just heard the words 5 boys, and like the hairs on my neck are standing on end. That ain't enough boys.
Yeah.
Obviously you won, so it was enough boys. But that's like.
That was kind of the running commentary of the day. Was like, this list it was not at all what people would consider the meta at all. But Do you feel that it was maybe almost an advantage because people weren't expecting what you took?
Yeah, that's 100% it, and I think that's what actually gave me a huge edge, especially in the last match. I was going to talk about it a little bit more on that, but I think it's because I use orcs differently. Firstly, I like how all these models look, honestly, and that's a big reason I wanted the Flash Kit to be on the field because they look so cool. So that's the main reason why I wanted to get him to work, not because he's a high yield with points or incredibly powerful or any kind of meta reason that you could put in there. He just looks so cool and he's so fun to play. Like, it felt so good. Once in the entire tournament, he got his 6 plus off where he gets to do his shooting again. And it didn't accomplish anything, but it felt so goddamn good, so good that it's just that was really fun, and that was the main reason why I chose a lot of these models. But in choosing the models that I liked, I threw them against the wall. Not literally, I love how they look, so I'm not going to destroy them, but threw them against the wall, and by the wall I mean Alex, to try and make this team work.
Some have often compared Alex to a wall, yes.
Because I wanted to play with these guys, because I painted them, I liked how they look, and I wanted to play with them. So the way that I kind of strategize a lot of my games is just to, Alex actually coined this phrase, I have a screen and then I have a hammer, and I use the handful of boys I have to either cause a distraction or cause a threat from somewhere, or just just throw at a charge that's either risky or put them in a kind of inefficient spot, but they're obscured, so that way they need to make that lucky charge, and if they do, then all the rest of my charges are easy with my more valuable units that just delete anything that they touch. And that's the kind of approach I took. I didn't know how well it would be. It was fun to play with, and I think Alex and I have about a 50% win-loss rate against each other, and I find that pretty good. So I decided to go with that approach instead of painting more boys.
So I'm pretty sure I overheard Glass Half Dead say during our game that he was surprised I didn't take more Corpuscari priests against you. And I think against a standard boys list I would have, but I've played you so much that I know what happens. So I know that he takes these big old knobs. You've got the knobs knob, the boss knob, and then the commando knob, right?
Yeah. The commando knob's not as durable, but he got that claw, so
yeah. So he brings these 3 absolute sledgehammers of units, and having played him enough, I know that I can't just rely on, if I disable those units, I do well. If I can take those 3 units out in the first round of the game with supercharged plasma, then I just have to deal with the boys, and that's fine. But when they all get in round one of charges, and then they start picking you apart. But
it's game over. Yeah.
Because when sorry to just kind of tangent into general list building ideas. So when I'm bringing a list to a game, I like to mix it up. I'm not sitting there with 6 plasma on the board. I like to have, a couple plasma, a couple infiltrators, a couple priests. Just so if someone loads up heavily on any one thing expecting you to do any one thing, they're not going to hard counter your entire army. And so when Emmanuel has the boys and the knobs in there, if you go in prepared to delete knobs, you're going to get wrecked by the boys. And if you go in prepared to delete boys, you're going to get wrecked by the knobs. So you have to be able to handle both.
I'm going to plead ignorance here because I've rarely played knobs against them. Can you tell me what makes a knob like this absolute wrecking machine?
They crump real hard.
So it's not so much that they're an absolute wrecking machine. It's the weapons that they can bring in. But it's also the incredible durability, and I'm saying this as a guy who makes t-shirt saves. So compared to a Marine, they're not as durable and strong, but they are 2 wounds, which does help out in a lot of situations. They're 4-up saves, so they don't get immediately deleted by not being able to make a save at all. And a lot of people will bring -1 AP thinking that's enough against orcs, but then I still have a third of a chance of actually making a save with a knob, which is always surprises people. And they can bring power claws, which have AP -3 and D3 damage, which is usually a shock to people because they don't realize that, because they're used to playing against boys, they're not realizing that orcs can hit really hard.
And they still have the volume of attacks to even with the -1 to hit, they're still going to get a hit through.
Yeah, well, because I run my power claw as a combat just to help increase that. But so yeah, the first game, kind of dismantling his initial movement plan allowed me to circle around, control a lot of the objectives with little tiny guys and just rack in points while he was distracted trying to protect his leader for the first round, and then for the second round trying to recover from that and regain some board control. And then my second match was against Grey Knights. That was against a player named Jacob. We deployed on opposite corners of the map with that big bunker in the middle that had that kind of wall around it, allowing me to make an approach from the top and allow me to kind of disable his big silencer by getting a charge in. So that way I felt really bad for a silencer because it didn't do anything the first round where it got to shoot when it should have deleted my knob. It very well should have statistically. I should not have been able to play with that, but he was able to, he wasn't able to seal the deal with that. And with all my boys in there pushing him into his corner, I was scoring on secondaries and primaries, and I ended up actually tabling him. I felt bad on that round too because there was a couple of rule discrepancies where he had misinterpreted a couple of rules, which changed a little bit of his plan too. But I gave him a chance to roll something back with a roll off that fortunately went my way, and sealed that deal as well. I think the third round was probably the most fun I had of the entire.
It looked like you guys were having a blast.
Nothing but sixes. It sure is a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, it was more than that.
Okay, the fun was not mutual then.
Well, I mean, it was. That top table is stressful.
It really is.
My goodness, it is just so stressful. You have the lights, you have all of that attention on you. And you have this stress of everyone watching you. It's like, oh, don't make a bad move. Everyone's going to be yelling at you about it. They're knowing what you're doing. And then later on, when they introduced the chess clock into that, forget about it. But I didn't feel any of that when I was just playing against Alex. It was fun. It was just like one of our normal Thursday games where we're just goofing around, making orc noises. And well, I was. And just having a blast. Like there were times where we were just stopping and giving each other advice because we just can't help it. It's like, well, I'm probably going to do this, so why don't you do this instead? It's like, oh yeah, sure. And that happened like at least a few times. And I think both Alex and Glass Half Dead at certain points was like they keep fist bumping and shaking hands.
They were so confused.
Other Alex for
other Alex.
Other Alex, yeah.
Team Academy who piloted orcs to I think number 2 at Nova recently. They were perplexed by our canter on the head table, and so that was a fun game. I'm not going to rehash that because you already talked a lot about it. Lots of charge, lots of crump in. I was very lucky on the dice on that, I have to admit. My fourth game was against a Necron player. He actually, despite being there to help out a lot with the setup, working along with Sheldon. He was able to actually play as well and play fairly well. His name was Andrew Wang, and he brought a Necron list with some flayed ones. I can't remember all the names of all these guys. And unfortunately, I was trying to review his list that he didn't have it uploaded into Battlescribe, but he had a mixed list with some heavy guys, and that was an interesting match specifically because both of us misread the bespoke secondary and screwed up the first round. We both put a model that we did not want to have to be locked down in a spot that they had to be locked down for a whole round. So there was a bespoke on that is the one where you had to dig, and that model has to do nothing for that entire round in order for you to get that point. And I accidentally only put my knob's boss knob with a power claw as the only one on round 1 on a point when I meant to put a boy on there as well. And that was just like that much of a movement that I screwed up on that. Yeah. And what that led to is my knob's boss knob sitting out in the open for the entire first round. Yikes. Just digging with his power claw for some good loot. But it ended up helping out quite a bit because he found a tiny spot that I thought I had screened out to fit a 25 mil base in of his flayed one for a deep strike, and that would have gone straight for my leader had I not been digging for round one. So I was able to intervene with that, and it just turned bad luck into good luck. And then he ended up making the same mistake with his big. It's a three wound
Triarch.
Model. Yes.
Triarch Praetorian.
I think so. No, the Praetorians are the ones that fly, right?
Yeah.
The Lich Guard.
Lich Guard.
Lich Guard. Yeah, it was a Lich Guard, not the Praetorian. He had a Lich Guard that ended up having to stay on a point all on his own, just digging for an entire round. And that I felt so bad about that because he fell into the same trap I did. But I allowed for my deep strike to actually take out his leader by round 2, I believe. And that swung me into an advantage pretty early on in that match. It was close. That was an 8-12, but I think he was ahead of me by the end of round 2. And then by taking out his leader and kind of moving the momentum my way, I was able to push myself to score more primaries and secondaries through the end of that and maxing out towards the end. So those were my four rounds prior to the final against Michael Holy, and that was stressful.
Yeah.
It was stressful watching it.
Yeah.
That was the game I didn't get to watch, but I was following our club Discord, and we were sending you as much positive energy as we could because we knew.
Well, I could feel that energy vibrating in my pocket with every single notification from Discord.
It was like basically a religious experience. Sorry, go ahead, Aaron.
Just gifts and photos. That was my.
Yeah.
That's all we could do. We could just give you a bunch of wahs, but that was about it.
Yep. So that's the match that I think drives home the whole not playing the meta and playing something unique to me actually worked the most in my advantage because I think a lot of the selections that were taken on his side might have been to deal with more of a boys list than a knobs list. And I might be completely wrong. He might have had a different plan that he never got to execute just because of positioning and how the first 1 and 2 movement phase happened.
That map was particularly bizarre.
Yes.
The deployment zones were it's one of the maps where the 2 deployment zones are triangles that actually come together and touch at a point.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you deployed at 2 models were maybe 3 inches away from each other at the start.
Less than that. Yeah. Less than that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a 6-1 from the packet. I can't remember the name of it at the top of my head.
Running Battle.
Yes, Running Battle. And in that, it's also interesting because it's very hard to score those 9 points for objectives because you get 1 point if you control more, 3 points if you control the one that's on the farthest side of the map from you, and 5 points if you control all of them. So it's very hard to get those 9 points. So then you're very reliant on secondaries, which ended up didn't going my way either because I chose Cut Off the Head, which I didn't get to do, and I chose the specialist ones, killing all the specialists. I can't remember.
High-profile targets.
High-profile targets. Thank you.
And what was your third?
And my third was proximity alert because it works.
Yeah.
But I didn't actually take. The only things on the board were his 3 specialists at the end, so I didn't even get to score one of those secondaries. But
oh wow.
That match worked itself out again in just the first movement phase. Getting enough orcs into combat and charging into flamers from obscurity, allowing me, or from out of range rather, allowing me to get in safely without having to suffer those flamers. Kind of took over his front line and dismantled his protection of the back line, and then he was forced to have to march out units that he did not want to march out, that he was just hoping to actually just pick off. Yeah, that was, and the thing about that match that was particularly stressful was the chess clock, and I think they talked about it a lot on the stream. First time ever playing with the chess clock. I know how it works, but I'm used to just playing our campaign games, honestly, where we just sit around, goof around, we're making each other laugh, we're talking out our turns, and we're just having a good time looking up stuff, taking our time with our tactics. And I'm used to like a more casual paced game. So the moment that I have to move 14 models in a short amount of time, because then I have to get ready for Crumpin', It's just you make mistakes, and on that first round, I actually didn't even get to deep strike my commandos. I had 3 models that I didn't even deploy in the first round, and I looked down. It's like, when did these guys get taken out of action? They haven't gotten a chance yet. Wow, that was moronic. But just like the mistake I made into in that 4th game in making my boss knob dig, I turned lemons into lemonade and used their deployment then to stop one of his scouts from getting around to my leader, and then sealing the deal as far as the map control and getting those 8 points for 8 points? However many points I got for, I think it was 8 points. Doesn't matter.
That to me. Yeah.
Yeah, getting all the points I needed for the primaries in order to eke ahead of Michael Holy. So that was a 12-8 win, which is pretty close. I only got proximity alert, and then I killed his leader at the end just because he had nothing more he could do other than just march his leader out into the open, which I had to take advantage for 1 point, which I didn't need, but 12 is even, so that's nicer.
Nice. Does it seem like the chess clock is going to be a thing in the competitive scene moving forward?
There's talk of it.
Or maybe, I think perhaps a more elegant idea that's also been tossed around, I've seen on Glass Half Dead's Discord, is getting like a couple really large timers and kind of set them up on opposite walls. So like no matter which side of the table you're on, you like look up and you see this great big timer ticking down.
Yep.
So not so much to like stress you out on your individual table, but just as a reminder that, this is a timed event.
Yeah, because that was a bit of a problem. That was maybe one of the only knocks that I'd have on both days of the experience, is that time was kind of unevenly enforced. And because really they only had one person walking around yelling time, because there were people who would be playing 15, 20 minutes after time was called, and it was like
sometimes longer too in a couple
sometimes longer
of situations.
And so the time I don't agree with the chess clock, because I will agree with you that is just way too stressful to have to deal with. But there does need to be probably better timekeeping in the future.
Or if someone else manages the time clock, at least for that top table, and swaps back and forth.
I was very hungry, Ben.
So what? Obviously, you both did well. Emmanuel, you did better than anybody that day. What were your general overall impressions of SCO?
Well, I'll be 100% honest. I was walking into that being ready to not be happy. I was really worried I was presuming about the type of people that I'd be meeting that would be very, I don't know how to say it. They would be not fun to play, like a chore to play with. I had imagined in my mind some ultra competitive person who was going to be telling me my dice were not legible, or telling me that my orcs were not painted well enough, or telling me that my movement should be 1 millimeter back, or he's going to report me to the TO. I was really, in my mind, prepared for that kind of experience. And I went into that, I just wanted to have fun. I didn't really aim for anything. I didn't have any personal goals other than having fun games and trying to not get frustrated if I end up facing someone who provides an experience that's not letting me have fun. And I think we were all talking about this at the end of the first day when we were all chatting after. I was pleasantly surprised. I was going into SCO saying, this might be my last tournament. And then I went into SCO, and after day one, I was like, I can't wait to the next one. I met so many cool people, so many fun people. Some of the most fun I've had playing this game was at SCO against people I've never met. And I just need to take a moment to say the Orctagon. That's my favorite thing. And the guy named Kyle, who is more enthusiastic about orcs than I am, which I did not think was possible. He made this beautiful diorama called the Orctagon, where he brought little prizes to people if they were able to beat his champions, either Gork or Mork's champion. And he gave out to the first 4 people that were able to win a pocket watch that was a green pocket watch with an orc face painted on it. And I dubbed that my good Lork charm. And I actually wore that for the entire day too, so I think it actually is good lork.
So really, it's thanks to Kyle that you.
Yeah, so thank you, Kyle. Thank you.
Yeah.
You propelled me through day 2.
It's Gork, Mork, and Kyle. Kyle's just like a half step.
Oh no, the conundrum got even more complicated as who's best. But to get back to your question, like I was so pleasantly surprised by just the positive energy and the sportsmanship and the enthusiasm to just have fun. Like that was what I was worried I wouldn't find, and it was there in troves, and I couldn't be happier about that.
Yeah, I mean, and you were.
Really have anything more to add to that. I mean, that's 100% how I felt too, and it's been really fantastic because we've got our little local crew that we all play with, you guys and a few others, but we've had several more people kind of join in and be like, hey, let us know when you guys are playing, and our little local community is growing. It's fantastic.
Our local club Discord, I'm looking at it right now, is up to 26, all primarily Kill Team players. So, that little crew that started almost a year ago, it's blooming, and it's really, really cool. And I feel like we're adding, great people all the time. Every event we go to, every person we meet will introduce us to like 3 other great people, and they all, kind of join the fold then. It's really cool to see. And when SCO can be a conduit for that sort of community growth, I mean, that's really awesome to me.
Here. Yeah. I mean, and as Emmanuel just said, I feel like it's been amazing that all the people we met at SCO have been great. To a person, everyone on our Discord who we've met through Kill Team has been delightful. And so, the community continues to grow, and there's no one in the community who, I'm dreading playing with, not ever. So that's great.
Yeah.
Except Alex, though.
Well, I dread playing with him for very different reasons.
And that's because I'm a huge jerk.
I'm catching up to Alex, though, in our games. We play every tournament, and I feel like a couple months ago, it was nothing but blowouts. He's blowing me out of the water. And now I've gotten within 1 point. I've almost caught him. I'm almost ready to take that step to finally get a draw. That's my dream.
I got a ways to go before I get there.
I'm just gonna keep always having to have there's a pizza being delivered, or my car is running away with itself. I gotta go, Alex. I don't know what happened. I only brought a D20, or.
And echoing your point about the tournament, and I was right there with you. I was dreading it. A game that's a year old, people have started to kind of filter into between the lines of the rule book to really extract things that, you kind of squint a little bit at when you're reading the list. So I was expecting it to be full of people who were not playing to have a good time. But I came away with it with the thought that a major tournament, and if you've never been to one, and if you're considering going to one, approach it like someone approaches a marathon, because there's 3 tiers of ways that people engage a marathon. There are the people who want to win it, who train, who work super hard, and they're trying to be the first one across that line. There are the people who are going to challenge themselves, who put in a little less work. They're in it for the fun factor, but also to see just how well their list works. And then there are the people who are there to go and experience and meet other people and just have a shared experience with others. And I think that if you go to a major tournament, you can engage in any one of those tiers, and you're going to find people that kind of meet on your level, which is really, really cool about
There's also
majors.
a 4th tier, Will. What's
the 4th tier, Aaron?
4th tier that I occupy.
Yes.
Which is, I drive a clown car around, and I just want to make people laugh so I can be their friend.
That's true.
if you see me at like a tournament or something, I'll be the dude with the weirdest list, just being like, I don't know what they even do. But
I bought these yesterday.
Cool.
These
So
plastic army men I bought from Kmart.
It's freaking crazy, and then I just throw them at you. But
it was discussed. I forget who I was talking to this about. Maybe Jesse, but it was discussed that at LVO for one of the pod days, the rule is you have to buy your kill team from the Frontline Gaming secondhand store immediately before the pod starts.
Which is how
you can't play something you've played before. So it has to be like totally new. You can buy whatever is in the bag, and that's what you get. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Which that is exactly what Jesse did last year.
Yeah.
I do want to like kind of bring it back a little bit, just to echo what you guys were saying about the community and SCO. And I was also dreading it because you all know that I was totally burned out as well. And it's been great. Like, you know, kind of all this kind of like branch out of it. I mean, honestly, kind of started when we played with you, Alex, and you, Emmanuel, that one night at our local game shop. And it kind of like it's just been this evolving experience of meeting these cool people that are fun to play a game that sometimes has a rep of being kind of a little rough around the edges when it comes to societal niceties. So it's been great, and SCO was awesome, and I'm really happy that I'm like, you know, friends with y'all, and we got to like play together and do all that stuff. So it's been a very cool ride, and I'm
happy to be friends with you too, Aaron.
Shut up.
Aaron, you can.
We're not friends, Alex. It's fine.
Once you play me in a game.
Yeah.
The gauntlet has been thrown.
What if I can I just buy you a beer and we're just kidding.
Yeah, that works too.
Okay, cool.
But can I circle back for a second to some more? Can I recircle again for the 900th time? So sorry, a lot of circling back. But so not only was SCO like fun for us, and was it way more fun than we were dreading it would be, but it is also noteworthy, right? So I mean, you guys talked about on day 2, Emmanuel and Alex, you guys talked about playing players who were relatively unfamiliar with the rules. You talked about playing against some, you talked about bringing lists that were not at all in line with what the supposed meta was, and doing just fine with them. Alex, just out of curiosity, how many plasmas were on the table for you at the most? Do you remember at what point did you have the most plasmas on the table, and how many was that?
3.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
so,
I never, because I've got my sniper plasma, I've got 2 more Vanguard plasma, and then I've got a Ranger plasma.
Okay.
But I don't think the Ranger plasma was ever dropped.
So you brought a maximum of 2 at any one time?
3.
A maximum of 3 at any one time. Okay. So that's not enough plasma. You're doing it wrong. And
it was more than enough plasma because they kept blowing themselves up.
and Emmanuel, you did not bring 950 boys, so you're doing it wrong. That is to say, you not only were some players new, but even no one was playing these like absurdly net decky meta types of lists. You were there having fun. You also mentioned. You also mentioned misreading an objective at one point. On the last game, when you were like in first place, that both players at that top table both misread an objective. What this says to me is that like you don't need to be, the Albert Einstein of Kill Team to go to a tournament. Like you can,
if you dream it, you can do it.
Yeah. So this doesn't just apply to us like we had fun in the past. I feel like this is a lesson for people who are playing Kill Team and who are interested in meeting other people, interested in going to tournaments, whether they're local tournaments or national tournaments or world tournaments like this one was. For me, the lesson there is this game is still in a healthy place where it's welcoming for everyone, even at the top tables. And that's just awesome.
Well, and I think it's also cool that you guys didn't play meta lists that people would want you to play, because it kind of echoes into this thing that we've been pounding this drum for a minute, and it's that you don't have to take the list prescribed by the statistic gods, and I dig that. It speaks volumes to your ability as players and the ability of you guys to work problems and find solutions, and also just to practice enough against each other to kick butt, because I think we can't swear.
Well, I think it comes down to, I mean, as corny as this sounds, you find a list that makes you happy and then you play it until you get good at it.
Yep.
I'm incredibly ignorant of all teams except for Admech and Orc.
And only orc by attrition only.
Yes. But you can make a team work. If you play with it enough, you learn its ins and outs. You can make it work.
Mm-hmm. And in addition to that, the efficiency in the math hammer only goes so far when so much more is decided by creativity of use of terrain, creativity and eccentricity. I've said it more than many times. Being able to act unpredictably, and also being able to perceive what other people want you to do, in order to allow yourself to act unpredictably. And a lot of that shakes up people's worlds when you're not doing the right thing, quote unquote. Yeah. And that can go very far in a competitive scene, which is the kind of game I like to play. And the fact that I just hope that some of the performances here, myself, Alex, and a lot of other guys there, where they're not playing the prescribed meta. I hope that really drives home to the community, because the moment there's only one way to play orcs is the moment that orcs become uninteresting. The moment that the only way to be successful with AdMech is to have the maximum amount of plasma is the moment that you stop buying all the cool other models that you can. And we're not sponsored, but we're not coming with a sponsorship to GW there. But you get what I'm trying to say, though. It's the surprises, it's the creativity, it's the fanaticism for the hobby that we've all enjoyed that is going to keep this game going. Hopefully annually, as we've seen in Whispers. I know I'm all for that, as long as this momentum keeps carrying forward, and as long as everyone just plays for fun.
True story, man. That's
the moment we take it way too seriously is the moment that we have to take a step away and realize that we're doing this for fun.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
To that end, I got a kind of a question for you that relates to that. So you said something before that I thought was really interesting, Emmanuel and Alex. I think I've heard you echo this, that your game, when you guys were, so this was the third round on day 2, when you guys were playing against each other. Emmanuel, you said, it really felt like just a regular Thursday night game that you guys have. So it sounds to me like that's the ideal. That's what we all want out of this game, is to have it feel like just, comfortable and friendly, and like we're, like we know what we're doing together. So if we're strangers and I come play you at a tournament, what does good etiquette look like at a tournament? How do I make sure that our game feels fun like that?
I think a lot of it has to do with not being too hung up if the dice don't go your way, or if your opponent's dice do. That's something outside of their control. And I laugh when I make my t-shirt saves, just because it shouldn't happen. And it happened way too much on Sunday. I'll be the first to admit that. But the people that I played against laughed with me. They didn't get frustrated that their weapons didn't delete the orc because he's just an orc and he should be deleted by anything including a stiff breeze. They laughed with me and they're like, all right. And then they made up a narrative with me. And it's like, oh, I guess he just shrugged it off. He didn't think that the gun actually discharged, so it didn't actually work, right? They made up that narrative. They had fun with playing with it and playing with the story. I was playing a game on day 1, and I think it was my last match that I was playing, and this guy's friend. I'm sorry, I'm pulling up his name right now because I have notes on everyone I played with. I'm not going to waste any more airtime with it. Alan, there it is. Alan. I played with Alan, and he played guard. He had an amazing model, a useless lasgun guy that was just a body who had a broken arm. He got pulled out from the Sorotas sisters who were trying to fix him up just to be an extra body on the field. But his friend came up to me and just said, "Do you play D&D?" I'm just like, what gave it away? It's like everyone has a story on this field, and that's what makes it fun. Just playing with the narrative, playing with the fluff, enjoying what you're doing, and just having a good time, smiling, not getting hung up when it doesn't go your way, and just enjoying it. And at the end of that game, I actually threw my orcs at his firing line of plasma just so that way he could fire Overwatch and delete the rest of my crew. It was funny.
Here.
So, yeah. It's like that's a part of it, just having fun and smiling about it, that I think just goes a long way. And that's what makes you a fun player, just being a fun person to play with, and just to enjoy the good parts of the game for each other and the bad parts. Because like Alex said, it's in the end, sometimes it's a dice game, and no matter how good you are and how strategic you are, the dice are going to be really good or fail you, and those are funny.
Yeah.
Those are very funny moments when your power claw hits all ones on its wound roll. He forgot to turn it on. Oh, darn.
Which I kind of love that story just because I just see him. He's so excited to go crump, and he's like, there's just too many buttons. He's like, no.
He crumps with the off button by accident.
Yeah, exactly.
So from everything that's kind of been said here, and the fact that, you can have a good time and still win,
What?
can we agree that the game's in a good place?
Yeah, better than ever, honestly.
Yeah. Which is
excited
really, really
to help,
promising. I mean, Kill Team, we're specialists. We're a specialist game. We're not the hot ticket for GW, not anymore anyway. So it's the community that'll make it, and after seeing SCO and seeing the joy that it brought people, I think that the game's in a really, really good place. We're really excited for that rumored cough cough sort of confirmed Kill Team annual that'll come out in December, because that means that the journey continues, and the journey continues for us. I think all of us are planning on LVO. That's the next big that's the next big old time where we get to smash our heads against fun people and have new experiences and new stories. So I'm looking forward to it.
Word.
Gentlemen, do you have any closing statements that you'd like to make? No?
Well, yeah.
That was very.
Actually, Alex and Emmanuel. Are you guys working on a project?
Oh, yeah.
Coming down the pipe soon?
How'd you know?
I don't know.
But yeah, Emmanuel and I have been kicking around the idea of starting up a bat rep channel
For a while now.
Yeah. And I think, going to SCO and just having a blast really kind of
Reignited that.
yeah. And we're spooling up to get that pushed out, and I think it'll be good content. Hopefully fill a couple different niches in the Kill Team world.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Looking
cool.
to have some more bite-sized kind of bat reps, really shooting for production value, just to kind of help make the ease of user experience watching it a lot nicer, and then some longer form, more educational things, because we talked a lot about how our Thursday games go, and a lot of it is just us like picking each other's brain, like, why did you do that there? Why did you make that decision? What are you thinking I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. Does that change what you would do? And kind of trying to capture that and put it in a bottle for people, so that way they can share that experience with us. Because I think just playing those more casual, just kind of discussion like format games really made us both
makes you better.
Yeah, made us both like we really taught each other a lot about this game, and I think that that's something that we want to share. I think we settled on a name. We're gonna call it Strategic Advantage.
Strategic Advantage.
Yeah, and look for that. Hopefully not in the in the not too distant future.
And where can people find you?
I have Instagram at emanpaint, EMAN _PAINTS. There it is. I spelled.
I'll help you out.
I think you actually spelled E-Man Pants, but it's fine.
That's my other Instagram.
This is a G-rated show, Emmanuel. We're gonna have to bleep that. So.
That's where I make new pants.
Oh, that's not weird at all.
And then he takes them in the shower when he's painting.
Yeah.
Oh, he powers too.
Yeah, I power as well.
That explains why your models are so good looking.
Very, very cool. So we're looking forward to Strategic Advantage, and thank you so much for coming on to the show. We hope to have you on again soon.
Yeah, anytime.
All right.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. And on behalf of Alex and Emmanuel, Ben, Aaron, and myself, thank you so much for listening to this very interestingly put together episode 8 of KnightsCast. We hope you tune in again soon. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.